Life is short. It ends 1 minute at a time. Why waste it fulfilling other people's expectations? This is just one of the questions posed in the novel Fight Club, written by Chuck Palahniuk. The film adaptation of Fight Club, directed by David Fincher and starring Brad Pitt, Edward Norton, and Helena Bonham Carter, could be considered one of the best and most influential films of all time, judging by its reception and continued popularity. Fight Club doesn't shy away from excessive violence, contains a lot of explicit language, and of course, the obnoxious behavior of its characters. However, the film is far more profound than the fact that men meet to beat each other up. This video explores various philosophical ideas that Fight Club presents to us. For those who are not familiar with this story, don't worry, we'll cover the story for you too. And of course, if you are into that, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, A.O.D, for more videos like this. If you already did, let's start with the story. The story of Fight Club revolves around three main characters. It's told from the first-person perspective of an unnamed character, commonly referred to as the narrator. He's a hopeless white-collar job at a large car company and has fallen prey to what he calls the IKEA nesting instinct. Like an obedient sheep, he follows the dictates of social norms, which translate into an authentic, repetitive, and empty life. He suffers from a severe case of insomnia, which causes him to be neither fully awake nor fully asleep. Sometimes he harbors self-destructive thoughts. While flying from state to state for his job, he prays for a mid-air crash or collision every time the plane leans too much during takeoff or landing. During one flight, he meets an eccentric and hypermasculine guy named Tyler Durden. Later, it turns out that Tyler and the first-person narrator are one and the same, as Tyler is a product of the first-person narrator's imagination, likely brought on by severe insomnia combined with dissatisfaction with a boring, meaningless existence and a life of suppressed urges. The narrator is addicted to attending support groups for certain illnesses, because there he sees the opportunity to cry, which seems to be a remedy for his insomnia. The downside of his behavior is that it's not real. He doesn't have testicular cancer or blood parasites, but pretends to have them so that he can reap the benefits of these sessions. These benefits come to an end, however, when another, non-genuine visitor begins to attend the sessions as well. This is a woman named Marla Singer, and her motive for attending these sessions is, and I quote, "It's cheaper than a movie and there's free coffee." Marla is a self-destructive, chain-smoking fatalist who expects to die at any moment, but finds it tragic that it never comes. She steals food and clothing to make a living and attempts suicide by overdosing on Xanax. Although the narrator, Tyler, and Marla are completely different personalities, their lives are accompanied by a nihilistic undercurrent. Anti-consumerism is like the central of their ideology. Tyler Durden's anti-consumerist stance is evident when he expresses his concerns about the modern way of life. Shortly after the narrator meets Tyler, he discovers that his apartment has gone up in flames. After this unfortunate event, he realizes he's no friends to call and calls Tyler. The two meet, and the narrator laments the loss of his furniture and his respectable and nearly complete wardrobe. Tyler responds rather indifferently and slightly sarcastically before he begins to express his opinion on the subject. It becomes clear that Tyler has a rather unconventional view of what's good and bad. Murder, crime, and poverty are generally considered bad, while consumer products such as televisions, clothes of a certain brand, products that hide aging, enhance performance in the bedroom, and help us lose weight are considered beneficial. Tyler disdains the artificial as opposed to elements that are a natural part of human existence. Probably we've existed. This way of thinking touches on ancient Cynic philosopher named Diogenes of Sinope, who believed that modern civilized life interferes with our natural state. At the end of the film, it turns out that the narrator self-destructed his apartment when he was taken over by his alter ego Tyler Durden. This act was the first step on the path of detachment from his property, toward a more authentic way of life and towards, as Tyler puts it, rejecting the basic assumptions of civilization, especially importance of material possessions. The narrator moves in with Tyler, who lives in a dilapidated house with constant leaks, power outages, and no IKEA furniture. Slowly but surely, the narrator actually detaches himself from his previously destroyed possessions. "The things you own end up owning you," Tyler tells him. And this simple wisdom arguably hits home as the narrator realizes that he doesn't need all these worldly goods and is actually much happier without them. Then there are struggles and masculinity. Fighting and the experience of pain play an important role in Fight Club. At the beginning of the story, Tyler asks the narrator to hit him as hard as he can. He explains his strange request by saying, "How can you know yourself if you've never been in a fight? I don't want to die without scars." So the narrator punches him, Tyler punches back, and the two engage in a fistfight. Both seem surprisingly comfortable afterward and decide to do it again. Their nighttime activities in a parking lot attract the attention of other men who also want to join in these non-hostile fistfights, and thus the Fight Club is born. It's widely known that voluntarily exposing ourselves to certain forms of pain makes us stronger when faced with adversity, which could be a legitimate reason to engage in these fights. As the narrator says, after a fight, everything else in your life is turned down. Self-destruction is an important aspect in the movie. As the story progresses, Tyler and the narrator begin to see the world through a different lens. Tyler criticizes the modern hype about self-improvement by saying self-improvement is self-gratification, now self-destruction. This statement is somewhat perplexing, as the increasingly destructive nature of Fight Club, where faces are permanently mutilated and people have teeth knocked out of their heads, doesn't seem like a sustainable way of life. Tyler brings what's called a human sacrifice, namely a man named Raymond who does a lousy job at a corner store. Raymond wanted to be a veterinarian, but didn't make it because it was too much studying. Tyler threatens Raymond that if he doesn't start studying within 6 weeks, he'll kill him. In the scene, Tyler points out another aspect of self-destruction, the act of letting go of fears, negative self-talk, and all distractions so that we can fully focus on our task. It's the destruction of all that prevents us from living life on our own terms. For the narrator, Tyler has one central goal: to get all the way down. After experiencing suffering and destroying his false identity, there's another aspect that must be destroyed: hope. And Tyler says that we don't need God, that we shouldn't care about salvation and damnation, and if we're God's unwanted children, then so be it. Thus, we lose all hope, but we're also freed from religious teachings and paternal authority. Now we're truly free. Now we can create our own meaning and live as we wish. Fight Club is a story about rebellion against the status quo and a plea for the simple life. It critiques the way we're so fixated on security and material possessions, and how people let social norms dictate their lives. Tyler shows us a way out, and while his insights are profound, the execution is questionable. Fight Club and its terrorist offshoot Project Mayhem show us how easy it's to resist one ideology in order to fall for another, and how a sectarian echo chamber built on rigid beliefs can become very destructive. And yeah, if you have other ideas about this and want to share with us and everyone that watches this video, you can tell us down in the comment section. Of course, for more videos like this, you can just subscribe to our channel, A.O.D, for more videos like this. Also, we hope to see you in the next video. Have a great day and goodbye.